Hello, everyone. I have
Hi, everybody.
and we also have Smita on the line. Madhuri is joining us from Mumbai, and Smita is joining us from Mountain View, California. This is the beauty of internet. A lot of people from a lot of different places can join us. I mean, simultaneously, and I just love it. I absolutely love it. Smita will be back with us in a moment. She has gone to pick up something. It's a gadget that she wanted to show on this live streaming, and we've just given her a moment. She is back now. So we have been having a discussion about the power and potential of e-learning business models. Now, I have learned a lot in the past two episodes, and I welcome Madhuri and Smita, both brilliant sisters and brilliant L&D professionals, brilliant e-learning specialists. And I'm so grateful for them to be in my life, for sharing all this information, for sharing all of this knowledge with all of us. So, Madhuri and Smita, welcome on the show once again.
Hi,
This is the
everybody.
yes, yes, we can hear you. Hi, hi, Smita. See, this is the culminating episode in this three-part series. And whatever we have discussed in the last two episodes, I just want to summarize all of it by showing a little PPT. It is just 2 or 3 slides. And I would want both of you to jump in whenever I'm making a mistake or whenever I'm uh, going wrong in my interpretation. Because whatever I have gained in the past two episodes, I have kind of summarized in these 2 slides.
Mhm,
All right.
mhm,
So
mhm.
feel free to jump in at any point in time. I'll quickly share my screen and then we'll continue the discussion. Just tell
Yeah.
me when you see my screen. Okay. Can you see the
Mhm.
screen?
Yes.
All right. See, as we had discussed in the last two episodes, and as the
Mhm,
title topic goes,
mhm,
e learning business models.
mhm,
We are trying to understand the business models that can be available for anybody who wishes to participate in the e
mhm,
learning industry
mhm,
as such.
mhm, mhm,
Okay, and being a business person myself, being with an entrepreneurial mindset, I have always been associating business models with revenue streams.
mhm,
So this is my interpretation of whatever we have discussed in the past two episodes.
mhm.
To our live audience and to other people who are going to see the replay of this, I would suggest that you go and watch the other two episodes also, so
Mhm.
that you get a better understanding of how we have broken the whole e-learning scenario environment into easy to understand steps for just about anybody who wishes to participate in the e-learning industry.
Mhm.
So, see, as I understand it, the first and the foremost would be for corporates. E-learning atmosphere that has been existent in corporate for a very long time, and
Mhm.
that is there. The number one is therefore on this list is for corporates.
Mhm.
The opportunities that can be existent, I have listed them here.
Mhm.
One is, of course, for instructional designers. And
Mhm.
Madhuri and Smita, I would like you to give a detailed analysis of what instructional design really is and how do people go about becoming instructional designers and what exactly goes into the learning part of it and what exactly is the delivery of it. So,
Mhm.
for corporates who are into e learning, instructional designers have always been there as in-house executives and also as freelancers. I know a lot of people who work as freelancers for
Mhm.
corporates in the field of instructional design. So it could be a very lucrative way to participate in e-learning if
Mhm.
somebody is interested in doing that.
Mhm.
Now, the second element for e-learning would be for academic institutions. These could be schools and these could be colleges at any levels.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one element which is really neglected, I feel, in academic institutions is that they don't utilize their teachers, the in house teachers. They could be professors, they could be school teachers, they could be at any level in academic education.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I would call all of them as teachers. So if
Mm-hmm.
you are a professor or if you are a senior level teacher, please don't, a senior level educator, please don't take this as uh, something demeaning. But eventually, everybody is a teacher who is performing in the academic institutions and trying to educate another person, no matter which level it may be. I
Mm-hmm.
feel for academic institutions, in house teachers are quite underutilized when it comes to e-learning, although it could be a very good opportunity for the educational institution to showcase their teachers in a brighter light. And present pandemic situations have forced all the educational institutions to shut down. Now this is where an opportunity lies for all of them to start thinking of not just giving one-on-one learnings through maybe online sessions or something, but also to create a repository within their own framework wherein their in-house teachers can share their knowledge.
Yeah.
And of
Yeah.
course, in doing this, they can utilize instructional designers also, who can be in-house instructional designers also, meaning they could be in the payroll of the academic institutions, they could also be freelancers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, third opportunity that is definitely available for, I think, everybody is for individuals and organizations. I'm talking about small organizations. I'm also talking about big organizations, which are kind of operating independently in their own niche areas. Niche or niche, whichever way anybody wants to pronounce the word. And these are basically trainers and coaches
Mm-hmm.
who are performing in a variety of different niche areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can be a life coach also, and you can be a business coach also. You can be an aromatherapy coach. You can be a yoga instructor. You can be just about anybody. But if you are performing in this field of training and coaching, there is a
Mm-hmm.
tremendous opportunity for you to perform as an individual
Mm-hmm.
or perform as an organization, be a part of an organization or even start your own organization if you wish to perform in the e-learning environment, in the e-learning industry. All of these people can be independent educators also.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is a definite market existing here in India, and I know that it exists in a lot of other countries also, which basically is of coaching. It's called coaching, but actually the people are independent educators. They are supplementing the academic institutions and providing extra education, which makes the people qualify better for the competitive exams
Mm-hmm.
maybe. So I'm talking about those independent
Mm-hmm.
educators to also perform in the e-learning industry, to
Yeah.
participate in the e-learning industry.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here is one of
Especially,
the,
yeah,
yes,
Nina, I will just add to this. So
yes.
when you say competitive exams and all, especially the objective type exams that we have, so
Hmm.
e-learning platforms can be very good. I mean, e-learning can be a very good platform to give those practice sessions, which are very needed, and where the learners can take them at self-paced and on their cell phone itself. Like we had, I should not say cell phone because it's a archaic term now. It should be smartphone. So
Hmm.
on our smartphones, we can actually, it's a very good tool for giving these small learning bites and giving a practice session for such exams, which a lot of companies are doing it.
Yes. So this
Yeah,
is also a very important business model which is emerging, uh, and it will stay for a long time because
yeah,
people do want to qualify for
yeah,
competitive examinations, and just pure academic education is somehow insufficient. It falls short.
yeah. In
Independent
fact,
educators have a very important role to play over here. Yes,
yeah.
yes, Madhuri.
In fact, this competitive exams, like, it again boils down to what is the need of India. Like, we have a huge population and employment is very, very critical for us. And even today, there are several sections of our society where government jobs are considered far better. I mean, especially, there are areas where government jobs are still considered better because of the security that they give. So definitely, this is a market. This is an area which which requires a lot of help, and which requires a lot of use of e-learning, so that more and more people, even in the remotest part of the country, can be prepared properly and have access to good guidance. So that is one area which has very good scope.
Yes. So basically, it is all about individuals and small organizations,
Yeah,
not to the level of corporates, but smaller
yeah,
organizations
yeah.
uh, uh, who can perform in all of these areas. And there is one other area which I see dominating at least free platform forms like YouTube and all, where anybody who wishes to share their knowledge in any particular field, be it culinary field, be it beautician, or be it anybody else, they
Hmm.
are making short videos and sharing on YouTube.
Yeah,
So it's like over the period of time, it just becomes like a huge repository of knowledge. So
yeah.
that's the reason why I've listed this here, all who wish to share their knowledge.
Okay.
So if you're sitting on a bunch of knowledge and you think that you wish to leave a legacy of that knowledge for posterity, e-learning could be a beautiful place to start doing that right now. And because of the present pandemic situations, this has become all the more relevant all of a sudden, although this has been there for a long time.
Yeah.
And the other area, which I feel is kind of a new area, very interesting also, but it has been in use for corporates for a very long time that I'm aware of. But I'm still listing it as number four, as micro learning. Now, micro learning, as the name suggests, could be short snippets uh, which are shared, which have a learning quotient. And the people who can participate are all individuals, all organizations. And one other area which is really emerging is all entertainers. Suddenly you see TikTok video, each and every person has become like an entertainer, who wishes to share on TikTok, let's say a 60-second video, which is entertaining and which is also teaching something. So it's like something which has become all of a sudden kind of a craze also up to a certain thing. I don't know how much e-learning potential it really has. We will definitely want to know your opinion on this.
Yeah.
But I feel entertainers can also participate in micro learning.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a part of the larger umbrella of e-learning business models. Now, gaming in itself, I have placed it as a separate section altogether because it has been there for a long time. It will keep on growing, and most of the people who are finding an opportunity of e-learning through gaming is mostly organizations, big organizations, small organizations, and medium-sized organizations. Basically, the opportunity exists for game designers and developers. And there is a small area, rather, it's not really very small, but by industry standards, it could be something small. But see, we
Emerging,
are
emerging.
discussing yeah, we are discussing business models. So,
Yeah.
business models, to my entrepreneurial mindset, translates automatically into revenue streams. So, unless there is a revenue stream attached, there is no existence of a business model. So, individual game players, the people who are actually participating in the beta testing of the games and also playing the games just for them it may be fun, but they are contributing a lot to the gaming industry as such by way of their feedback, and they are getting handsomely paid for just playing games, just indulging in doing something which is entertainment for them, which is something which is like a better utilization of their time, and still can be a very good revenue generation stream. So I would still consider it, although it may be in unconventional uh, way to look at it, but I still consider that individual game players can also be having some kind of contribution
mm,
into the whole e-learning industry as such.
mm,
Now, see, these are all opportunities. Why am I using double-headed arrows? Is I'll just explain in a moment. For corporates, generally they have a dedicated LMS system, or they are designing a dedicated LMS system for somebody else. If they are uh, a company which is performing in creating courses for other companies, a dedicated LMS is first of all a learning management system, and corporates will need a dedicated LMS. Academic institutions also, I feel, need a dedicated LMS. For individuals and organizations, could be free, or it could be just a small system set up for them, which can give them uh, the way to perform and way to sell their knowledge. It, we as at Success Energy Enterprises also, we are launching something very soon by 15th of May. It is called eVisors, and it is a dedicated white hat product for small trainers, coaches, independent educators, and all of the people who wish to share their knowledge. And then in the micro learning, so far I think we have only free things, but it can be an LMS also. So it should be free slash as an LMS, but please don't look
mm,
at the error. It's just disregard the error. It should be a slash over here. I made a mistake in this PPT. For gaming, a dedicated platform is definitely required, and I think most of the gaming platforms are very strong platforms wherein the people whosoever is participating is really doing a really spending a lot of time over there. It's completely a different ball game altogether. But
mm,
whenever e-learning business models are discussed, whenever I am discussing it, whenever I'm just putting out a question to somebody, or I'm just trying to get any understanding of it, I find that a lot of people keep talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, augmented reality, virtual reality. I've listed all of them over here on this double-headed arrow over here. And the reason why I've listed them here is that all of these industries will be impacted by these tools, by these technological advancements as we go further and forward. But
mm,
the learning part of e-learning, as we have covered in the last two episodes, is the crucial thing. No AI, ML, AR, or VR can actually replace the learning.
yeah,
The learning has to be there. You can't just uh, have the content which is substandard embellished with all of this and think that you have created something in e-learning. That's the reason why I've placed it here, which will be impacting all of these business models. But eventually, the learning has to be at the core. Now, why these double headed arrows? The reason is very simple. It is all changing, it is all dynamic. The, the platforms that we have today, they will change tomorrow.
mm,
This industry, as such, is, uh, you know, after 2 years, whatever we are doing today might look childish to us. But at the present moment, this we are scaling up and doing this, thinking that we are doing whatever best is available at the very moment. So, since everything is dynamic, I've used a double-headed arrow everywhere to just indicate that this whole thing is so flexible, so dynamic, that at any point in time, if you start, there will be a learning curve involved. So
mm,
better start sooner than later. Now, whenever there's a business model, there has to be a product or a service. But I've just listed a product over here, just written the word product over here, because even the services which are delivered via the e-learning modules or e-learning industry as a whole, they eventually are products,
mm,
even if they are services. So the borderline between service and product is kind of merging a little bit when it comes to e-learning as such. And Just as any other project, there is a state of initiating the whole thing. There is planning involved. There is execution involved. There's monitoring and control. Whenever you're creating any product in e-learning, and there is a closure involved. So there will be a current state. There will be a transitionary state. There will be a future state. The planning, managing, and reinforcing. It will be continuously a process. So you cannot really say that I have created a product and it is a perfect product. And these green arrows that you see, it's just to show the cyclic nature of the whole thing. Like you finish creating an e-learning product, and then you again go back into either creating a new one or improvising upon the existing one. So it's like, since learning is a cyclic process, you're constantly learning and relearning and unlearning at the same time. Same goes for e-learning also. You are moving forward, backwards, all at the same time. So this is how I wish to depict all of whatever we have discussed in the last two episodes in a pictorial manner.
Yeah.
Now I'll stop the screen sharing and we can go into a discussion.
Yeah.
So, this
Uh,
was my understanding. You guys are specialists in the field. I am just a novice. I am just starting out. I am just learning. I all of it that I can say is that I am a very good student. I will always remain a very good student all my life. Now,
yeah.
what you want to build up or upon all of this understanding is completely up to you. The floor is totally yours.
Yeah. Yeah. So I saw the business models. Yes, there are primarily, the segments that you listed. I think we have covered it in detail in last sessions. Now, the thing that you listed, micro learning and gaming, uh, they can be considered as a business model, but from my perspective, I would also consider it as instructional approach, which would
Okay.
come under the brackets. Like, let's say,
Right.
whether we are giving it for corporate, whether we are giving an academic solution, or whether an individual, small organization or an individual is giving, that will also come under the approach, instructional approach.
Hmm.
There are two things which I would really like to highlight here, and maybe because I would like to also give it to Smita to show the gadget. But before that, a very broad level thing. When we say gaming, there are two terms which are used very synonymously, but they are different. So the one term that is used is gamification, and
Yes.
another is game-based learning. So
Yes.
when I say gaming, gaming
Hmm.
would actually need a proper. Smita plays more games than me. I am a very, I can say, initial gamer, but still I know some basics of it. Um Gaming needs a proper engine and everything, the setup which you are talking about. I will not go much in detail because that's not our agenda of the day. But then yes, so that is gamification. So that entire thing is gamified with a complete gamification experience.
Hmm.
And second thing is there, which is primarily used a lot in e-learning at a lower level till at a higher level, is
Hmm.
game-based learning. That means you're learning screens. A typical e-learning, it will have
I
a
didn't get
learning.
that. Madhuri, can you just repeat yourself? I didn't get that. What
Yes,
what what word you're using?
gamification and game-based learning.
Hmm. Fine.
Okay. So when I'm saying, when we say gamification, it's actually
Hmm.
a gaming engine that you have. It's a complete setup where the learner is thrown into a game environment,
All right.
and
Okay.
and the
Basically,
dynamics.
simulation kind. A
Yeah,
simulation kind. Okay.
yes, you can say simulation. Simulation is just one part of it, but
Okay.
entire gaming environment they are thrown into, and that
Okay.
requires a different kinds, and the opportunities which are there over there are different types of opportunities. That there will be story writers if it is a scenario based role play kind of thing. Then there will be artists, because the level of art that is involved in
Amazing.
it's very high end, and you would need high end artists for that. And and I'm giving a very top third element is the programming aspect, which
Hmm.
again will be very high end, and the technology and the platform needed for that is really high end. So that is about gamification. As of now, very few companies are getting into that entire gamification as far as learning games are concerned.
Right, right,
There is
right.
another thing which people use it very synonymously. They say, oh, gamification, but it's not gamification, it's game based learning. So,
Hmm.
in our regular e learning courses, what is the general structure of a e learning course? Okay, you have learning. I'm giving very simple, otherwise, we follow the Ghani's 9 events when we design a course, and as per those 9 events, we have every element into the course. But I think over the time with with it's completely becoming disruptive. We are going to change those events, because learning is becoming now not very synchronous, but we also going for asynchronous paths. So we have learning screens where the content is presented, that is
Right.
explanatory or expository learning, that is
Hmm.
what we call it. Or
Right,
we can have the learning screen as a exploratory, where the
hmm.
learner is exploring the learning screen. When I
Right.
say exploratory, that is where it is a game based learning. So you design a small game and let the learner explore the knowledge. Like
Yes,
you
yes,
can have something, what's the right behavior, what's the wrong behavior, and you can actually put it in a gamified environment. So
right.
so that is game based learning. So
Hmm.
learning screens can be either that they can be a simple text, which is a passe now, either they can be a graphical representation, or
Hmm.
they can be animation screens. So the micro learning which you said, it can actually become a small learning screen inside a e-learning. Okay,
Right,
so the learning screen can be text, graphics, it can be animation, or it can be a game.
right,
Okay, a small
right,
game,
right.
and that is not gamification. That is game based learning. So okay, but people use it synonymously. Then the
Yeah,
other thing,
lot of things are used synonymously. That's why we wanted to do this three-part series in order to uh, make everything very clear, very
yeah,
crystal clear. Maybe somebody
yeah,
will take derive value out of this because
yeah,
there's a lot of confusion in the field when, like I said, when I start talking about e-learning, people start talking about AR, VR, and machine learning and all those things. That's
yes,
that's
yes.
the tool. That's according to me. It's I'm not a techie. It's technology.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
technology that may be used to build some e-learning
yeah, yeah,
module or whatever you call it,
yeah.
product or
Another
business.
yeah, another thing that we have as a part of e-learning is you have quizzes. Okay,
Hmm.
so there are learning screens and there are testing screens.
Hmm.
Now these tests are usually from conceptual perspective. There are two types of tests.
Yeah.
One is the reinforcing tests, which we call it as revision tests, knowledge checks, those kind of things where after a particular lessons or something like that, you allow the learner to reinforce their knowledge through the questioning part of it. And
Right.
another thing is the final test, which is which is for evaluation, and the major
Hmm.
importance of it is a recall value if it is a knowledge and comprehension level training, and if it is an application driven training where the expectation from the learner is once they go through that learning module, they should be able to apply it to the real life scenario, then the tests will be of that level, where they'll
Right.
have to apply their knowledge.
Right.
And it can be anything. Let's say, for example, there is a scenario, a course on decision making. So
Hmm.
probably you will put the learner into the tests where they have to take a decision.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay,
Right. Right.
or if it is a software training, then
Hmm.
probably something related to the software part of it. So I'll not go too much into detail. So primarily there are learning screens, there are test screens. Okay, and then if we have like simulations, practice screens, so these are the sub parts of it. But at a primary level, learning screens are there, and learning screens can be of different types.
Right.
um, yeah, so this is one kind of thing. I think I'll give it to Smita, and probably she can add about something to it. Smita, you want to add to it?
Yes. Thank you, Nina, for the wonderful presentation. Thank you, Madhuri. I'm a little sensitive about games because almost every day I play games for like 4 to 5 hours. So last
Oh,
night we were playing game for 3 hours, and then everybody said, "Dinner? Did guys did not have dinner?" I said, "No, games are critical. It's important," and we had dinner at 2 o'clock in the night.
oh my God.
So, so I'm a little sensitive about games. And to add to what Madhuri and you said, so when we talk about games, uh, there are there are of course multiple genres of games. You have board games, you have role play games, you have action oriented games. There are different. You have fantasy games. There are different genres of games that are there. uh, Now we have to differentiate between the term gamification. The gamification is has typically evolved in the learning space. So you have gamification, and then there is something called as a serious game.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the objective of a gamification and a serious game is completely different. Now let me give you a textbook book definition of what gamification is.
Okay.
So when we say gamification, or however people call it, people I have heard people call it gamification, gamification. Okay, so when we say gamification, um, it means that I am using a game-like situation
Mm-hmm.
for learning.
Right.
So you have to first identify what are the game-like situation. So when you typically play a game, you have a sense of achievement. So that's
Right.
why we say badges have to be there. You have a sense of moving from one part to another part. So when I am playing Counter Strike, I'm running from one direction to another direction. That's not the movement, but the number of people I kill. So I said one countdown, two countdown. So there is a sense of achievement. So gamification simply means that I am applying a game like situation. I'm using all the game theories, the game logics into a learning environment,
Right.
which means I cannot have a linear course, uh, uh, uh,
Yeah.
a
It's
linear
understood.
action.
Understood. Right. Right.
So
It
let's
has to
say,
be like multi-directional.
yes, you give a complete control into the learner's hand. Again, to design a gamification core, and then serious game is something different. Serious game does not really have a learning objective.
Yeah.
Uh, it is just competition. It's just playing
Okay.
a game.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, However, gamification will always have a learning outcome in the end. And coming back to your the business opportunity slide that I saw, while Madhuri said that that's one of the trend and one of the ways you instructional design, which is of course 100% right. But I was a little intrigued by the fact as to why Nina actually put that on the slide when 70% of the world says that it is a instructional designing style. And while I was quietly listening and fixing all my gadgets, I'm a gadget person. I kind of did a little bit of thinking in the background, and I said, yeah, it could be a business model, because I do
Yeah.
see there are companies who are seriously considering that as a prime product. So, and one of the industries that I have seen it very actively uh, uh, implementing or adapting to the gamification is the healthcare and
Yeah.
the manufacturing segment.
Yeah.
So companies that are servicing them. So they are.
Even insurance, I think. Even insurance is picking up on that.
Yeah.
Insurance industry.
Yes, insurance is taking up. However, it may have a little it's a little diluted, but I
Hmm.
was looking at some of the companies a couple of months ago who actually design a lot of medical courses, and
Hmm.
they say that okay, the patient walked into this hospital with and needs a plaster. Can you pick up the equipments and start uh,
Yeah,
fixing him? So the learner has to make a decision there that whether he pick up a wrench or whether he
yeah,
use to stitch. So
Hmm.
that's a game-like environment where you give a
environment.
complete control and a sense of achievement to the learners
Hmm.
on doing something. And the reason why it's getting popular is because learners feel that they did something. So gamers like me who play games, there's absolutely no reason why we did not have dinner last night but decided to play games, is because there is there is an inner satisfaction,
Right.
and
Right.
when we
Yep.
say gamification, we apply the same. There are multiple game theories, and we are not getting into game theories. People can reach out to me and I can talk about game theories. But when
Yes.
we apply those multiple theories in game theories into a learning environment, that's when we say it's a gamified course.
Yeah.
So, like Madhuri said, running from pillar to post, opening boxes, and answering questions may not be. I don't know what the industry calls it. They definitely say game based, but it's not really game based, or it's not. It may be game based, but it's definitely not gamification. So yes, Dina, I really liked that you put game as one of the
Yeah.
business model, because in future, people who are really educators like me who are into gaming, we may tomorrow consider that as a business model.
Yeah. In fact,
Absolutely.
in
No,
fact, some
see, I
companies
just
are
wanted to. Yes, Madhuri, you were saying something.
some companies have already started doing that, where they are just selling gamification. So, it can be board games that primarily need not be
Yes.
e-learning,
Even
and
card
they are,
games and so many other things.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that's pure gaming, and it may not be exactly
No, no,
e-learning.
it's learning. It's learning. Like,
Okay.
they have designed learning games
All
online
right.
as well as board games,
Okay.
especially for corporate. Let's say, for example, gender bias. Find bias. You be a detective and find the
Oh, all right.
gender
Okay.
biases in your company. These kind of games people are designing, and they're doing only that. They're
Okay.
doing only that. So people are stepping in. Even Indian companies, they're stepping into this area where gaming has become gamification, or gaming has become, the business model of the learning,
Fantastic.
selling the
Fantastic.
learning. You
Yes.
know.
All right. Great. Great.
So,
So
Great. Fantastic.
so
Yes.
I also like to talk about some of the games which are building. So the people who are actually building serious games, they have uh, they have observed these trends, and I have I spend a lot of money on board games and online games, and I recently see a trend that even people who actually build serious games, they are building games which has a very underlying educational
yeah,
objective.
Interest.
So
Okay.
I don't want to run again, but I could have shown you a game which is called We Need to Talk, and
yeah, yeah. I have that.
I showed it to Madhuri, and I have used that game in behavioral sessions. So what happens in that game is, you pick up cards, and they're also empty cards, and I seriously want to build this particular game from an educational perspective. So there are multiple players, and there is a card. So let's say there are four people, and there's one person. The one person whose chance is there, he will pick up a card, but he does not see. The card is seen by all the rest of three people, and card has nothing but a problem in the person.
Yeah,
Hmm. Okay.
And the objective of the game is that everybody else have to tell or have to help that person identify a behavioral problem in him without
Okay.
clearly telling. So let's say if the person has a habit of um, uh, uh, interrupting someone or not
Hmm.
listening. So
Hmm.
all the three people who are playing the game do not have to directly tell him that you have a listening problem,
Hmm.
but they will give him enough clues, and he gets three chances to identify what exact behavioral problem does he have. So
Fantastic.
the reason I actually said this is because across the globe, people are seeing that games do one of the games do have a lot of educational value. There
Hmm.
are people who are into serious gaming industries are building games which are for educational purpose.
Yeah.
It's just that as educators, so we have a lot of material available. As educators, we need to understand, okay,
Yes. Yes.
where I use it, where
Yes.
I make that fix, how I bring it on into
Yes.
my sessions. Um uh, and I'm pretty impressed with COVID. We have where every weekend we used to have gaming sessions. We are all moved to online gaming. First time it was really frustrating, but some of these games are really nice. Like the
Yeah.
other day, one of my colleague was telling me about a game which is a cooperate game about cooperation and
Okay.
building a strategy for cooperation. So,
Yeah.
so you have to cooperate. You have to learn how to cooperate with every participant who is playing a game, and that's when you successfully cooperate. That's when you
It's
win the game.
teamwork. Yeah,
Okay.
it's teamwork.
Fantastic.
And
It's
in
Fantastic.
teamwork.
our world, it's teamwork. Okay.
So
Yeah.
tremendous e-learning potential in gaming.
Yeah.
Because I
So,
was right identifying it
yeah.
as a separate business model completely altogether.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
another thing, Nina, about virtual games, but I love board games right from my childhood. So board games is something which I like. I
Same,
love
same with
them.
me.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
but a lot of companies, as Smita said, they're taking the board games also online, especially after the
Yes.
COVID. Lot of people, even the learning, the industries which were designing learning games, okay,
Mhm.
they have
Mhm.
taken their board games online. There are a lot of companies. I mean, I do a little bit research, so lot of them are making it available online. See the potential of it. Let's say there's a board game on
Absolutely.
decision making, and anybody can and let's say there are 4 or 6 participants needed to play the game. Anybody can be taught. If the board game can be easily adapted online, imagine the potential of learning that an organization or any company or any individual can use it,
Great.
and it will be so engaging. So there are two things that games cover. You know, there are a lot of other things, but two things. They are more engaging than any other strategy, and they
Yes.
are motivational. Rather than somebody standing and telling people, giving motivational things, it's always better to captivate their attention, engage them, and that makes them feel motivated because game has those levels, winning,
Right.
losing, that competitive spirit.
But,
So
it's all it's kind of in a capsule. Everything is available. Which
yes,
can kickstart a person in the right direction. I think
yeah,
I get your point. I get what. I just want to make an announcement to all our live viewers that if you have any specific question, please type it out and we will show it on the screen and we'll have our specialists answer that immediately for you.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's for them. See, Madhuri, and Smita, I want to understand from you the potential of instructional designing as such, because a lot of potential is there as I can see it, but I am not too sure if young people are actually opting uh, instructional designing as a career choice.
Uh, okay, let me start with this.
Hmm.
See, even I have been meeting, I talk to different age groups, and I like to talk with teenagers who are on the verge of selecting their career. I have had conversation with school children, I have had conversation with college students, and I have also had conversation with friends who have teenage people.
Hmm.
They are aware of e-learning. They are aware of a lot of things. They may not know the terms and terminology, but they are interested. But what happens is, as I last time said, we don't have a educational path which they can take. So there should be somebody who tells them how to get into the industry. What are the skills that they need to polish? When we got into the industry, the first thing I'll tell my experience. I got into the industry because of my writing skills, because
Yes.
I had learned English properly in my high school. I didn't
Hmm.
get the job because of my MSc. I got because of the English I learned in my high school, to be
Eventually,
frank.
it is content creation. So, and
Yes.
most of the content was
Yeah.
being created in English. So
So,
that's fine.
so, so, so content writing is part of instructional design, just one part of it. So the
Hmm.
earlier instructional designers in their first job, when they were selected, they usually earlier, now things are becoming, more advanced, the
Hmm.
tests and all, they were tested on different kinds of writing skills. Even now, some companies are there who take those tests. What are these writing skills? There will be some things on grammar, and but that would be objective type. They would give something and ask you to identify the grammatical things, just like any objective test is there. Then second thing is they will ask you to write something like an essay. Okay, they'll give you a topic and write that. Again, that is easy. Third thing that they do is, which I had come across, is writing for challenged people. There's this one question that I have received once: how you will explain a moonlit sky to a visually challenged person who has never seen a moonlit sky? This is where you go to instructional design. How are you going to instruct? Another questions were like, your grandmother who has never used any gadget and who has never seen a ATM machine. You have to tell her, explain her, teach her how to use a ATM machine. So here is where your thought process comes. What are the cognitive skills, or what is the level of cognition that you have to use? Here
Right.
is the way where you have to learn what is the state of your audience. If a granny is there, a grandmother is there, what are the things she can relate to,
Hmm.
and how you can connect it to the knowledge of ATM and let her make her understand.
Hmm.
uh, then another questions like somebody who has never used a computer, you have to tell that person how to use Microsoft Word or Microsoft PowerPoint. So you have to understand what that background, how you're going to start, and what is your, so
Right.
this is where
Basically, right from the foundation, building it to a
yes,
certain level, uh,
yes,
targeting the right audience to
yeah,
which usually
yeah,
it is going to
yeah.
be projected.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then they talk about write a procedural thing, something which is a procedure. Then they
Right.
will ask you to write some process-driven thing. Now, in our
Mhm.
real life, we use
Madhuri,
a lot of
what
things.
I'll do is, say, we'll be approaching the top of the hour soon. So, what I suggest is we can do a separate episode sometime later,
Yeah,
completely on this career path of instructional
yeah,
design. Sorry to cut
yeah.
you short, but the fact of the matter is there is a time ticking here, which, which we want to just cover as much as possible on this one
Yeah,
episode. For instructional design, I feel it's a very intriguing career path, and it could be utilized by so many people because work from home is definitely going to be the norm for all of us now,
yeah,
especially under such situations that the world is going through right now. So we'll come to that. We'll cover it in detail in definitely another episode. Right now, Smita, I would want you to just tell our audience that third flank that we discussed on the PPT about individuals and small
yeah,
organizations, how they can participate in the e-learning industry. I know that you have a lot of gadgets around you.
yeah. I think we should give some
Instruct
time to
the
Smita to
trainers.
show the gadgets.
Yes, the if you can just instruct the trainers who wish to take their practice online, or the coaches who wish to take their practice online, or just about anybody who wishes to participate in the e-learning industry as a person who is sitting on a bunch of knowledge and
Mm-hmm.
wishes to share it. You know,
Uh,
what kind of technicalities are involved, and what are the basic things with which people can immediately begin.
sure.
For me, I know it's just a laptop that you need, and you can just start. Everybody starts from somewhere. You know, I as
Yes.
I feel we don't even need many gadgets, but you are a specialist in the field. So just elaborate a little bit
Sure.
without making it as if those gadgets are absolutely mandatory. I feel it's just a
Yes,
laptop. That's
they're definitely not mandatory.
yes,
However, it entirely depends on where you want to go. So
hmm.
I am specifically going to talk about the individual trainers and corporate individual trainers and freelancers, and how the future is going to change for them and how they can actually bring in the shift. So
Yes,
coming back to what Madhuri was adding, there are four categories. Okay, one is a content writer, one is an editor, one is a technical writer, and other is an instructional designer. An instructional designer could be as a freelancer or a trainer. You could either choose any of these professions to get into. You could
and
write a
they're pretty lucrative professions also. I feel.
all
Yeah,
lucrative
plus
professions, or you
yes,
could just become an instructional designer. So I would leave other professions aside because Madhuri did cover a lot into in details. An instructional designer could be one or all of them. Okay.
Yeah.
However, what is the deep thing, the deepest trait of an instructional designer is that they are compassionate and they understand the learners well. Now, which means that when I design my content, I have to first figure out what is that I want for my learner, and how is I want to make sure that I design my instructions around that.
Yeah.
Now, when I talk about compassion, of course, the reason I love gadgets is because I want to make sure that I want to give that kind of experience to my
yes,
learners
yeah,
and not leave out stuff. So, if you are an individual trainer and you are facing a situation like COVID where you really can't go out and do classroom sessions, you always have either an opportunity to start creating contents for corporates and become an instructional designer, or you could even become a trainer. However, the new trainer, as I call, for a lot of platforms available like Udemy or Coursera and Allison, and you guys can reach out and ask questions as to how one goes about doing it. The only thing I would suggest is, don't jump into a lot of stuff. Decide what you want to do, and once you have made that decision, equip yourself in your own little world. And that's why I bought a lot of gadgets with me. And I say that these gadgets are not really really important. But again, if you are taking up one of the professions and choosing your path, uh, it's like if I'm a tailor, I want to upgrade my sewing machine
yes,
that
absolutely.
I
I
perform
understand.
better.
I
So
understand what you're saying.
some of
Yes.
the things that I have got here, and I wanted to talk a lot about tools, but let's say, so this is my GoPro. And I use go I have this thing about showing doing a and the reason I bought this GoPro is because I wanted to show the world to people who really don't have exposure to that part of the world. So let's say
Hmm.
there is a kid in the remote village and the kid does not wants to see the Golden Gate Bridge and wants to get an experience and know the history of that bridge, or want to see and go and see Taj Mahal. So I would tie that GoPro on my head, and I could record a video
Yes. Yes.
while I'm going or traveling, and then go come back and make videos for these kids to tell them how it is. Also, if you are going to record your videos, it is a good, of course, you have your laptops, but it is a good idea to actually have a professional camera. Uh,
Absolutely.
or
Professional camera is definitely needed.
yeah,
Right.
or you could even
Improve the quality, the visual experience. Yes.
yes, or you could even mount your phones these days to actually record, but try to find out what's the best way that you could do. I have a couple of other things to show. So if I turn my
Yes.
camera, you will see
Oh,
that
yes.
this is my
Wonderful.
microphone with a pop filter, which is I did a hurry setup for people to see. But then, if you are going to record your let's say you have figured out the content, and if you want to make sure that people across the globe or across your region or in your corporate, if there's a corporate that has reached out to you to do a live session, it is a good idea, not in the beginning, but it is a good, and if you decide to actually do virtual trainings, it's a good idea to actually set it up. Okay.
Yes, yes.
And invest. Then, if you can't invest in an expensive a microphone like Yeti, you could even have smaller microphones that actually go on the desktop. And
Yeah.
this is from my India days. Um,
Yeah. I also have one.
I
yeah.
also have I also have
Yeah.
one, but I'm not using it right now. But I
Yeah, even
have
I'm
one.
not using it. Yeah.
Yeah, so there are a lot of gadgets available, expensive ones, cheap ones. Do a little bit of research, find out. How, in the end, what matters is you want to give the best experience to your learners. You don't want to use your headphone that came along with your with your phone to actually do a session, because
Yes.
uh, uh, you want to
It
ensure.
doesn't give a professional feel. It does, as simple as that. It doesn't give a professional feel. And I look at it this way, that if you are delivering value, and if you're getting paid for that uh, session, that whatever you are delivering, might as well give the users a great experience. So invest a little bit, although you can do it from your laptop, I mean, with the built-in tools, definitely. But then the experience is not going to be as good as it can be with these embellishments.
Yes.
Consider these embellishments and as necessary as you go. You can build upon the repertoire as you go.
Yes, if you're going to consider that as your prime profession, you figure out what is that you want to do. Let's say if you are going to be decide if you decide to become an instructional designer, go on Twitter, learn about what are the authoring tools,
Yeah.
speak to
Yeah.
instructional designers, and make sure that you are equipped with everything. There's one more little thing that I
One thing I want to say right here, right now, is in case you guys are free next week at the same time, let's do one complete show on instructional design as such,
Yeah.
or
We can.
instructional design as a profession.
We can do that. Uh, I think Smita.
Smita,
yeah.
you can take that in case you feel it's
I
not
actually
suitable.
wanted to add one more thing because
Hmm.
we are running out of time here, and it
Hmm.
is very valuable for the trainers. Is that if you ever get a chance, go to Google Classroom. Google
Hmm.
Classroom is an
Yeah.
element that's free for educators,
Free for education.
individuals, and nonprofit. So
Right.
it's a very, very robust LMS. You could schedule classes. I mean, I'm sure there are many. There's open Moodle, open source, but it definitely requires a server to install if you have a little bit of server space. But there are a lot of open sources, and it's not a free or a freemium. If you fall into the category where you are an individual trainer, or you are working for a school, or you are a nonprofit organization, uh, again, I could be wrong, I could be missing on certain things, but go ahead and find out a lot of platforms available. I would
Yes.
recommend users and individual trainers and school people who are on the live chat to actually go and um, look at Google Classroom. And
Yeah.
Yes,
There is.
Google
Yeah.
Classroom is fantastic.
Yeah.
I
There,
myself I haven't really checked it out thoroughly, but I'm hearing that it is a fantastic tool.
see,
So,
when we go
as I
to.
said earlier, while I was making that presentation, that we are also coming up with a small LMS system, kind of white hat product, which you can use and uh, basically store your own tutorials and sell them. As simple as why waste the knowledge? Why not create a revenue stream out of the knowledge that you already have? Madhuri, you were saying something. Meanwhile, I see there's a comment from Gokul. Gokul was also available online last time, if you remember, on the last episode. He's saying something. I'll just project it on the screen. Gokul Krishnan, VR is playing an important role in e-learning, and that's the future for training. True, very true.
Yeah.
But see, virtual reality tools may be available after a little while for individual small trainers also. But as of now,
Uh,
you can begin wherever you are and just
yeah.
start training your
So one of the
knowledge.
even before we go to using the tool, the need of the hour is for the professionals, including instructional designers, technology people, is that how to adapt their profession to adapt to VR. Let's say, for example,
Hmm.
if an instructional designer is there, the instructional designers will have to upgrade themselves and see how they are going to bring in the instruction, how they are going to do instructional designing, or how they are going to write instructions, stories for VR.
Oh, it's
So this
very
is
important. Very
yeah,
important. Thank you so
So,
much, Mother, for touching upon this. This is extremely important. Yes.
so I quickly add here, and I don't want to jump in because one note for Gokul. Gokul, thank you so much that you're talking about technology. If there is an opportunity, I will respond. If you could make that comment on the YouTube video, we would very actively respond to that.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
uh, but one note is that if you think VR is your path to go, explore it
yeah.
and
There's lots.
explore it and make it
I know,
available for your learning.
Smita, I'll tell you, Gokul is a friend of mine. We've been together for some time. I've attended his seminars. He has a cyber security business.
Yeah,
He's based out of Oman or Qatar, somewhere in the Middle East, and he has a company which is totally into cyber security.
yeah,
And
Uh-huh.
of course, he's been a great learner all along. So it's I've known him for quite some time. So
Sure.
it's
So,
see he is a multifarious person trying to adapt
yeah, so reach out
various
to
ways,
people.
diversifying the
Mhm.
knowledge. We are all in the field of diversifying the knowledge. Also, we are all
yeah,
in this time and space. I think we cannot just stick to one area. We all have to diversify. We all have to
yeah.
go
And
beyond ourselves, our
as
core
instructional,
competencies, and things
yeah,
expand.
as
Yes.
instructional designers or learning professionals, will have to identify the areas where what is applied. There will be some areas where gamification or game-based learning will be useful. There will be some areas where VR will be useful. Like, so to give you something quick example, we are running out of time, is like mining industry where some safety related is there. You have to go inside, you can't take your workers constantly inside and show them. And major problem with the safety is people are not consciously taking the effort of safety. So give them that experience of risk. So to
Yes.
give them the experience
Yeah.
of risk, VR is very helpful.
Yes.
I had seen one. I was in
So
US.
Madhuri, I'm so sorry. Okay, like I told Gokul again, put that
Yes,
question there,
we
and
will
we will
reply to
all
it.
respond with a written note. I've been exploring VR for last 8 years. Okay,
Yeah,
and I'm sure that I've spoken with people in Google Glass and all that. So there is a long time ago. Uh, so there is a lot of potential. It's just that if we start giving examples, there's not. So guys,
uh,
whoever is there, please drop notes, please communicate. uh, we can share the knowledge. Madhuri has tremendous amount of knowledge. We can respond to the comments, we can share the information. Yeah.
yeah.
That
We
will be
can share the
so.
information.
That's wonderful, Smita, the way you have put it across. And I have to tell everybody that today, for the very first time, we have streamed live on Facebook also simultaneously.
Oh wow.
So it's like one step forward for me in this area of doing live streamings. Earlier I wasn't focusing on Facebook, but today we are streaming live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. So it's a learning process constantly. The learning in e-learning, like where we started from, it's very important. With that note, I will culminate this session, but with a request that next week, please be present, both of you, so that we can have a complete discussion only on instructional design
Yeah,
and
Sure.
how instructional design can be utilized by new people, by people of all ages, I would say,
Sure.
who, who wish to explore e-learning as a business model for themselves.
okay.
I've seen a lot of freelancers from all age groups contributing to the e-learning industry tremendously, and of course, learning in the process. quite a
Yeah.
lot, right? So thank you so much, Madhuri, for joining from Mumbai, and Smita for joining from Mountain View, California. This is the power of internet. Communicate worldwide with the people from all corners of the world. Thank you so much for being here. I really value and appreciate your knowledge, your giving your time, and just we'll continue this in the next episode when we focus only on instructional design. Thank you
Sure.
so much.
Yeah, one
Thank you.
more thing. I forgot a green screen. Okay.
Oh,
So
yes,
Yeah.
green screen.
I wanted to put a green screen, but yeah, as if
Yeah.
you're a trainer, just put
Do
a
it
green
next
card.
time.
Yeah.
Please do it next time. Even I would love to see that because I'm hearing so much about it, but I have
Yeah,
never even
green
seen
screen.
it.
Green
That would
screen
be
is
wonderful.
something which is used in production houses also. So that
Mhm.
green screen, right? You're talking
Yeah.
about the
It
green
is
screen.
green
No.
screen. It could be just a green cloth,
Yeah,
which you
yeah,
could
it can.
just put it
So
behind
that's
so
called
that
a screen, but it can be a green cloth, and
Yes.
yeah, then we can put any
Let's
other
do it next
background.
time. Let's
sure
do it
I
next
will.
time. So, all the people who are there, please join us next time, next Saturday. I don't know what the date is, but we'll put out our flyers and we'll be discussing instructional design as a job opportunity, as a career opportunity, as a pathway that you can take to create your own fantastic revenue stream. Thank you so much. Thank you
Sure.
so much, Madhuri. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you,
Thank
Thank
everybody.
you.
you.
Have a good
Bye.
Bye.
time. Have a good time. Bye bye. Thank you. Thank you to the audience who have been present here. Let's see you next time. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.